Society.
Strangers. Strangers in society.
Strangers on the internet.
The secret.
Strangers. Society. Oh, welcome, stranger.
Secret to society.
Welcome back to the Secret Society of Strangers podcast.
Secret society.
Lee here as always with Josh and Jen.
What up?
Hello.
How's it going, guys?
Really good, really good. And you failed to mention our special guest.
I don't know his name. I was gonna let you introduce him.
Oh man, this is Roberto.
Roberto.
He is a stuffed wolf.
Roberto the weirdo.
Yeah. Because our topic today is about werewolves, y'all. Fucking werewolves, dog. Fucking werewolves.
You gotta check outside and make sure.
King of the monsters.
King of the monsters, you think so, huh?
Oh,
I know. It's like,
Interesting. Oh, I mean, to each their own. I don't personally think that the werewolf.
yeah.
is
Convince
king
us.
of the monsters.
Oh man, let us know in the comments. Who do you guys think is the king of the monsters?
Yeah, because I don't think it's the werewolf. Wow, super cool and one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Not.
Sorry, you can have your Twilight sparkly vampire.
I don't think
At
it's
least none
vampire.
of my monster. At least my monster doesn't sparkle.
No, but it
No, it
can't be
definitely
near
doesn't.
sparkle. A little bit of silver and bye bye werewolf.
So do you.
That's true. Well, that's silver, right? The vampire silver?
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
silver?
No, you need a cross or
But it
wood.
doesn't have to be silver.
Wood, yeah.
Did it?
I don't know. I don't
should know
know.
this.
We
Oh, well.
literally just did an episode about it.
And we don't know.
I didn't come across any silver killing vampires in my research, so just saying.
All right.
But we're not talking about vampires.
Yeah, we're here to talk about werewolves.
Right.
Like Michael Jackson in Thriller.
Ooh.
That's a
All
good
right.
werewolf, man. Did anyone ever see him,
Werewolf.
the makeup, the behind the scenes, him do the makeup?
Yeah,
Right.
all of his music videos were basically miniature movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good. He did the yellow contacts, but like the whole eye contacts, like back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't imagine how
Sick.
thick those were. Yeah,
Yeah, that just would suck putting in your eyeball. I can't even wear normal contacts.
I hate them. And we've had this
I
conversation.
know. I hate,
I would love
yeah,
it.
I hate them.
There's a bunch of glasses nerds over here, a bunch of 4 eyes.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Ooh. If we turned into werewolves, would we have perfect eyesight?
I think so. Oh,
I hope-
or would
I
our
hope
eyesight,
so.
or would I would be like, all of your ailments just magically heal, like Spider-Man.
You get like
He didn't-
dog.
Peter Parker didn't need
eyesight.
to. Ooh,
Yeah.
dog sight.
I
Yeah.
don't know. All right. Well, let's dive into this topic anyway before we start hypothesizing the whole episode before we get there.
Right. So we're gonna take this in the way back machine, back to our boy Gilgamesh in ancient Mesopotamia. Remember we talked about him a little bit during the Giants episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, in 2100 BC, the idea of human to wolf transformation first shows up in the Epic of Gilgamesh, and pretty much the first ever story of in written history. Gilgamesh, as we all know, he's the OG hero with the beard. That would definitely put Thor to shame. Like, this guy's beard game was on point. They wrote so much about it. But basically, he rejects a lover because she turned her ex into a wolf, and our boy Gilgamesh was just like, no, why would I engage in any of that toxic behavior?
Smart man.
Hi,
I was gonna say,
bitch.
yeah.
Just
That's fair.
character.
A lot of guys would be like, that sounds kind of hot. Like, I bet, I want to flirt with that line.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Bet
I can fix
you
her.
Like,
Dangerous
you like
woman.
dirty. I can fix
Yeah.
her.
Yeah,
You know, you're
dangerous
turning
woman.
men into wolves. I see you, girl.
But I know, as legends tend to do, or as any cryptid or monster, the legends have a long history, and the werewolf is no different. Going all the way back 425 BC, the Greek historian, I'm going to butcher this because Greek, Herodotus, Did that sound good?
Herodotus, yeah.
Okay, I
super.
liked yours better. And we're going to go with that. Uh, he wrote about the Nuri, a
Mhm.
tribe that supposedly transformed into wolves for a few days every year. So I wonder, okay.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. And
Yeah, so you're just chilling with your friends, and when you're
That's
like, oh,
what-
man, we're gonna have this big wolf festival, and then all of a sudden we all turn into wolves.
yeah, that's what I was trying to, I was like, I'm sure there was some, I don't know if it would have been I don't know. That's interesting to me. I'm thinking, wonder what the 2 days are. What's going on? And then there is ancient Arcadia, where Zeus was worshipped as the wolf Zeus. And if you ate human flesh during a ritual sacrifice, that was it. You were going to become a wolf.
So, like, how often is eating human flesh in a ritual sacrifice back in those
See, that's my
times?
question. I'm
That's
like,
a good
what is?
question. And the other question is, how common is eating flesh that they need such a huge deterrent?
Well, I mean, I guess, like, are they considering, like, you know, like, flesh, like, the skin, or if somebody's just, like, taking a bite of a human heart, like a human sacrifice? Is that considered? Or is there, like, a gray area?
Like chewing your nails, or like, you know, like picking your skin doesn't count, even though that's technically human flesh.
Right?
Yep.
I don't know, but
I would be
That's
down
a-
for that, not the rest.
that's a rough,
Right.
rough like end to it all. Like, who's gonna sacrifice someone only to turn into a wolf, and then probably turn around and eat everybody that watched you sacrifice this person?
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's a lose-lose for
Yeah,
everybody
That
in
sucks.
part.
It sucks. It is kind of crazy though. It jumps all over the world. Like we're in Greece, we're in Mesopotamia.
Mhm.
There's lore all over the place. Like I think of like when I think of werewolf, I think of more like that medieval era time werewolf,
Yeah,
of
like
like
the
a
Middle
whole
Ages.
village like being stalked by like
Yeah.
a werewolf.
Yeah, I think about, like, castles, like a countryside of something. Like, I definitely don't think of, like, ancient Mesopotamia.
Yeah,
I guess I never really thought about, like,
Yeah.
ancient Greece, but I mean, that makes sense. Because, I mean, vampires are even in myth in ancient Greece.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's been crazy that, like, how these things have stuck with us for as long as history, pretty much.
Well, because
Absolutely.
dogs have been so close to us, and then you bring the domesticated dog in to like familiarize people with like dogs,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have that unknown, undomesticated dog, and then the wolf. So like the levels of like fear and detachment from humans. So you could see how like these are things that we have to deal with every day,
Mm-hmm.
and there are good dogs and bad dogs, and you know, if a wolf takes a sheep, like I could totally see how you're like, okay, what's next? And then like a kid goes missing. Yeah, granny, he probably just like fell in the river and got swept away, but like it's a lot easier to blame that on the wolf.
Yeah.
It just keeps going, and you know, the boy who cried wolf.
Mm-hmm. I also wonder, like, at what point, like, if it's also like some sort of like psychological thing too, like, oh man, like I see like this wolf, it's like a majestic creature, it's strong, ferocious, and vicious, and then and then at the same time you're just like, well, I just want to be more animalistic and vicious in my own right, and then you start acting like that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's like the other side, like the Vikings and those warriors who would like cover themselves in like wolf
Mhm.
Yep.
hides and stuff like that.
Great way to bring up Norse mythology. So there's two types of berserkers. One type is the traditional berserkers that we know, and these guys would just like wear bear pelts and imitate bears and like get their strength from there. But there's another type of berserker called the Ulfhinder, and they wore like wolf skins into battle and fought just as ferociously as wolves. Like there's like tales of like people just like biting other people's throats out and just
Oof.
being savage. And it's just tapping into that primal energy and just eviscerating your opponent. Because I'm sure they had like they ate a bunch of like magic mushrooms and stuff like that too, and
I can't
just got
imagine
all
what you
hyped up.
did to psych yourself up before you
Yeah.
went to battle.
Mm-mm.
Oh yeah, these guys, like these berserkers, they typically didn't have any armor on. They were just literally either naked or they had a loincloth and like just their animal skin
Wolf
felt.
head just sitting on
Yeah.
top of their head.
Right.
That
And
hatchet.
yeah, sometimes they had a hatchet or a sword, or pretty much they just went in barehanded and just got shit done. Yeah, so the Olfender, they thought they could channel the strength and power of the wolf by wearing its skin. And it's sort of like doing research on this kind of reminded me of like the Native American skinwalkers,
Yeah.
because like you have to like wear the skin of another animal
Mhm.
and do other sorts of ritualistic things.
Yeah.
So it just made me think about that, where their shamans or evil beings could take the form of wolves or other animals. And then in Africa, there were stories of Buddha, not to be confused with like, you know, Buddhism and still like, you know, Buddha on my belly. This is just sorcerers who could transform into hyenas. So yeah, it's not all just like in one spot. It's all over the world, which is pretty interesting, because like back in these times, like not everybody was like, pretty much everybody in the Mediterranean thought that was the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they're not obviously talking to people like the Aztecs, the Incans, the Mayas, Native Americans here in America. Like they thought that what their little part of the world was their part of the world. So it's interesting that all these other cultures had this same sort of like story, tradition, not tradition, but like legend or what have you. But yeah, just turning into a wolf, it wasn't, you know, just about turning into the wolf aspect. It was also about like inducing fear.
Yeah.
So the French had the loup garou.
Sounds right.
Sounds cool to me. And in many parts of Europe, werewolf traits were as common as witch hunts. And we all know how everybody likes a good witch hunt. Mass hysteria. There's so many movies about it. Like I love Monty Python's witch skit in the Holy Grail.
But that's the image that comes to my mind. Conjure up like werewolf. Yeah, it's the town walking through the town square with pickets and torches coming for the werewolf or the vampire or whatever.
Yeah, so like if anything
monster.
weird happened, like a sheep going missing, or you know, your dog died on a Tuesday at high noon or some shit like that, or a crow flew over your house.
A full moon.
Yeah, or a full moon. Villagers might accuse somebody of being a werewolf. Like, I don't know, man. Gary over there, his hut's on the edge of the village. He's a loner. His wife died. His kids died, 2 years ago of the plague. Nobody's really seen much of Jerry at the ale house.
So it's pretty much a running theme in all of our topics that like humans just like throw each other out there.
Yeah, they just ostracize each other.
Oh, your house is haunted? No, you're cursed. Like, we'll send you from the village and kick you out, and we'll throw
it's
shit
not
at
your
you.
house, buddy. It's you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. You're dying of the plague? No, you're a vampire. Bye.
Did they have similar things like witches to try and prove that they weren't witches, but it was impossible to
Prove that somebody's not a werewolf.
Yeah.
How do you prove that someone's a wolf?
Oh man, I
drag you
just
down
saw him
with
scratch his
stones.
ear a funny way. He's a dog.
Yeah.
Just holding, like, here, look. Here, how you feel about this? What do you think about this?
Maybe not. No.
I can't help myself. Like going after the tree, like,
You salivate around a big piece of steak.
Did you just pee on my leg, sir?
This is where squeaky toys were invented. How do you feel
Imagine
about?
like a
Oh my God.
super sophisticated scene. Everyone just sitting there, and everyone's trying to figure out, is there really someone picking off our like townspeople? And then you just hear like, and one guy can't control himself. He just jumps up on the table. Like,
Everybody's like meeting for like in the town square. The mayor or whatever gets up on stage, and they're like, "I have one question and one question only. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?"
loses it.
Yeah.
Oh, pick me. There you go, werewolf.
Just everyone just guns at him instantly.
Yeah.
I don't know if they had like actual. They probably all had the same thing, like throw him in the water if he swims.
Yeah.
He's
Or-
a witch or a werewolf, and if he drowns, well,
Think
Yeah.
you're
about
right.
during a full moon, if he turns into a wolf, he's definitely a werewolf. And yeah,
I know like wolfsbane traditionally is used to like cure or like ward them off.
Mm.
That's about all I know.
Yeah, I don't know much about plant witchery. So email us at ssospodcast@gmail.com with your plant witcheriness.
Just gonna get an email from my wife. Like, I told you this already. Why do I have to email you?
Why was this not in your notes?
Oh, yeah, but medieval times, lots of things to blame. We've talked about it many a time. Dying was easy. Living
was hard.
Yeah.
You
I did.
your toe and you're dead.
I did learn a very, very interesting fact that changes our numbers and our viewpoint on that a little bit. So, because the rate of infant mortality was so high, it really skewed the numbers on life expectancy. So it was very common to live into your 70s and 80s, but because they're averaging it out with hundreds of babies that have died at -1 or 1 or under 5, let's say, the number just plummets to like half of what it would be. So we all think like, oh, 30 and you died. Not necessarily. They were
Right.
saying if you made it past 5, there's a good chance you lived a pretty decent life.
And how wealthy you were.
Yes.
Yeah.
Much like
Probably.
today.
Probably died like the plague.
Man. Unfortunately,
Yeah, they didn't have insurance.
or Medicaid.
Right?
There's no ambulances. They didn't even wash their hands. That would have saved so many people.
I also learned that that's not as true. They were gross
Did
and
you watch-
dirty.
Yeah. I wonder if you discovered the same thing. Yeah, I was just actually today just stumbled scrolling through TikTok, and this historian came on and she was like, yeah, I got to set the record straight on some hygiene.
Was she in like a white room, like a blank white room setting, and the questions came up from like Twitter? Because that's the thing I saw.
Don't
Twitter. It was like an ask me anything kind of situation.
Yeah, I love those videos.
Not sure. I don't think so in mine, but it was cool, at least in this one. But she wasn't talking about medieval times though. So it was much more like pre-Victorian and Victorian, that things weren't as gross. But she did say, like, pre-Victorian, that was the reason for some of the like underclothes, and they would be made out of like linen, which is of course like a plant fiber, which was made to wick moisture, and they would constantly wash those, and so yeah,
like you couldn't, like, we know what happens if you don't, like,
and then that was the point of wash basins that they did do, like, baths and stuff. But she was like, think about it, she gave like an example. She was like, think about living in like upstate New York in the winter with no heat, and the water doesn't come to you have to go out to the water. How much nicer does a nice sponge bath in your wash basin sound than having to go get the water, heat the water,
freezing river.
Yeah, you have to break the ice in the river or whatever, get the water, go back multiple times because you have like a bucket.
Yeah. So
So
anyway.
many reasons why I'm happy I'm here.
Yeah.
In this
That was
time.
the-
This
yeah.
timeline.
That was a cool little tidbit. We're sorry to the historical people for thinking you always stunk.
So, sorry, not sorry.
Pretty
So,
sure
like, you still
medieval.
probably smell pretty bad.
Pretty sure the medieval
man,
were
think
still
about
pretty
it, like-
bad, but yeah.
Right. But like, think about it. Like, if you were born in medieval times, you were just like, this is as good as it's gonna get.
And that's kind of what they were saying. They were saying like you would kind of know your smell, you would know your neighbor's smell. Like the offensive BO that we have now would be more like signature house smells that we have now. Like, everyone has their house smell.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
I'm always like self-conscious about my house smell.
Smell Jim. Real eggy smell.
Yeah, that is. Yep, that's Jim. That's eggs and sadness.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, depressed
Jim.
eggs again this morning, Jim.
Oh, well, we were talking about like Medicaid and healthcare. There were actual medical reasons why people would be considered a werewolf.
Oh yeah, like
yeah,
that one
yeah.
guy, that was in all the sideshow attractions and whatnot, where he's just
Mhm.
completely hairy.
Yeah,
Just like
Yep.
Wolfman.
actual lycanthropy.
What that guy had was something else. It was
That's something
hair,
different.
hair disease, hair
Yeah,
thing.
that's
But yeah,
crazy.
lycanthropy, and we'll get into the mysteries of lycanthropy in a little bit, but I'll briefly touch on it. Is like a psychological disorder.
No.
Yeah.
But then it gets more involved, and I'll touch on that. Oh
So-
yeah, so it's pretty much where individuals believe that they're transforming into an animal, and it doesn't have to be a wolf. It could literally be like, I'm transforming into a duck.
So like that kid that they rescued from the forest that like was raised by wolves, but like walked around on all fours and stuff. Like that's kind of like that situation, or
Something like that. But I think at that point that would be more like nature versus nurture.
like
'cause I know people,
adaptation.
like, yeah, adaptation's like, oh fuck, this is the only life I know. Like the Jungle Book,
Right.
you know?
Mowgli.
Yeah. But yeah, and then so it's just a very rare psychiatric condition, and they just have characteristics that makes them like animalistic or whatever, and then that's all it is. It's just a psychiatric condition.
I wonder where the line is between like being a furry and having
Having lycanthropy.
yeah.
I
Right?
mean,
Like,
no shame to like our furry friends and whatever.
I'm actually very interested in furries. Like I don't want to be one. Those suits look hot.
Yeah, I know. Like, how do you do
yeah,
it? Do you have
right?
a little fan in there?
Yeah, but like
I would
some of
have
those people are
Ice
pretty cool
packs?
fucking costumes.
Or do you
Yeah.
just thug it out?
No.
Please
I
let
mean,
me know at SSOS.
they'd be passing out. You would die.
Yeah. My costume would have to be a possum because I would just be like literally
Dead.
yes.
All
I
the
can't
time.
be hot.
Just
I
literally
cannot
done.
be hot.
I
would go
did.
like a shark or something, so I can just go like gray body paint.
Yeah, and there's just a fin.
Yeah, just a fin.
When I was young, I don't know, I was probably like 14. I worked at this place called the Fun Zone.
Mhm.
It's like an indoor arcade and rides and stuff. But my friend's dad was the accountant, so we had an inn, and we would always work like all the big events and shit.
Right.
So we would dress up. They would have like the Rugrats come, and we would dress up in there like someone would be Chucky, Tommy. And I would have to be Angelica because I was so tall. I couldn't fit in any of the costumes. But those fucking costumes are hot as shit, and they're not nearly as like elaborate as some of these furry.
Yeah, some of these furry costumes are like it's interesting. It's just a different form of cosplay, but like it's just definitely interesting.
Hey man, each their own. I love it.
Yeah, like we have a chain of restaurants here called I think it's just in the Midwest or whatever, called Space Aliens, and like their little mascot is an alien. And I was driving past the other day, and it's like 90 degrees out, and there's two of these guys in just a felt mascot costume. Like you couldn't even give me enough money to be in that costume right now.
I hate the heat. I'm so happy it's getting cool.
Yeah, I'm ready for fall. Like, oh, the trees are finally turning colors here. It's so dope.
Exactly.
Pumpkin spice everywhere.
Yeah, so that's not growing hair. That's just
No.
acting like an animal.
No. Yes. I mean, yes, it's just acting like an animal.
got you.
No, it's not growing hair.
I got you.
But so the hair thing you were talking about is called, I'm gonna butcher this, hypertrichodosis or hypertrichodosis.
Yeah.
It's a rare genetic disorder that causes obviously excessive hair growth all over the body, and it's not just like a gnarly beard or a luscious locks of hair. It's literally like your face, hands, palms, like everything.
I'll take a little bit of it, just a little.
Yeah, no, yeah. Give me just on the top,
Yeah, the top and the sides. It'll be good.
So yeah, and who knows like how long this genetic disorder has been around. So like you could even imagine like in medieval times, if you had that condition, obviously you're a werewolf.
They probably just shot you as a baby.
Yeah.
100%. Oh man,
This
look
thing
at
is the devil.
Yeah,
Boom.
I don't know what you are. You were.
Mhm.
It's like I'm Jim. I am Jim. No,
Off
you
his
ate Jim
head.
and stole his voice.
No, it's crazy. The thing, because they didn't know anything. The same
Right.
thing like, if you got bit by an animal in the woods that was like rabid, and you came back now, and now you're foaming from the mouth, like they're trying to give you water, and you're fucking aggressive about it.
Yeah.
Like, that would be like, oh my god, he got bit by a werewolf. he's gonna turn. You gotta kill him by midnight.
Yeah, he's gonna turn. Yeah, what would you even do? Like, I don't-
Killing him by midnight would be the best thing you can do for him. You're
I
not
don't
surviving
think-
rabies then. You're not
No,
it's hard
no.
enough to survive it now. You're
Yeah,
not
if you
surviving
don't,
it.
you got a limited window.
Oh yeah, I don't
But-
even think they knew what rabies was back then.
No,
Like,
probably
No.
not. Have you ever seen like a rabid animal or come in
Mhm.
contact with rabies?
no, not in like the
It's-
wild, but I mean,
I don't think you have it, Josh. I don't think you have it up there.
Rabies?
Really?
I don't think it's as prominent. I think it's a more northeastern, southern thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, like we have like raccoons and stuff like that, but yeah, I don't think like because it's just so.
It definitely has pockets on where it's like prominent,
Yeah.
but it's scary, man. Like, so what?
Very.
Part of what rabies does is like it makes like your throat anti-water. Like, so it's like a bacterium that's like instinctively was like, if this animal drinks, it will wash me away and kill me. So to preserve itself, it makes you like extremely scared of water.
That's
and,
so
like,
crazy.
hydrophobia.
to
It'll hurt it try to drink. Yeah.
mess with your head like that.
And then that's why you start foaming. Your mouth is just so dry, and like, imagine if you're dry, you're like, and just feel this
It's the
fucking-
worst case of cotton mouth ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but think about how uncomfortable that is, and then now you're in pain, you're a fever, your whole body hurts, and like
you're not-
people are just trying to like put water on you,
Yeah, they're just trying
Right.
and you're like
Yeah.
scratching them and yeah. Of course, that guy's the werewolf. No way.
Oh man, don't like if you like get bit by something that has rabies, don't you have to get like 5 shots or something?
Oh yeah.
Or
There's a
You have to
series.
get a bunch of
Not
shots.
not fun at all.
The
Yep.
regular vaccine fucking hurts, like more than regular vaccines hurt.
It's so weird
Oh.
that they hurt.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I've gotten it once.
Reasons.
That's it. That's all I need.
Well, yeah, because you were
Nothing
what a
good.
vet
I was a
tech,
vet
though.
tech, so I got it
Yeah.
once. And then what we do is we get titers. We get it checked up because no one wants to get the shot again.
Yeah.
So you get your levels
Yeah.
checked and make sure you're all right. I never got it again.
Have you ever dealt with a rabid animal?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
You instantly, it's very, very quick process. If you're done, if there's a suspicion, it's euthanized, the head is cut off, and it's sent to a special
Oh, you cut the head
laboratory.
off?
Yeah, the only way you can test for it is in the brain, so you have to cut the head of the animal off.
That's
And
Yeah,
metal
and
as
they-
fuck.
there's a
They
lot
wanna
of
know,
metal
'cause-
shit.
I mean, that's super
Yeah.
sad, but metal at
Yeah,
the same time.
it's gross, and there's a lot of metal shit when it comes to like veterinary medicine that like, if I just said it, you'd be like, what? There's no
It is
way. Like,
brutal.
yeah, pretty much. Even just puppy shit, people don't need to know about, like how their puppy's tails got cut off and their
Yeah,
ears
no,
got
I
cropped.
I don't need to know about that.
How are we talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, puppies, werewolves. I guess it works.
Yeah, puppies and werewolves. So, like, do you think that this could also be caused by ergot poisoning? You know, that's the same shit that fueled the Salem witch trials.
Yeah, that killed a
Mhm.
lot of people. That kills.
Yeah,
I mean, that kills
causes,
people
like,
today.
hallucinations, paranoia.
Yeah,
yeah.
totally.
Terrible fucking trip.
You know, that probably gives a better explanation for like the whole villages and towns
Hmm.
that were eating like infected grain or rice,
Yeah,
and then
Right.
were hallucinating. You know, it's like a whole bunch of friends just tripping on mushrooms. Everybody's very suggestive.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is say one thing. I'm like, oh my god, I see it. It's definitely a
Right.
wolf.
that's it. When we meet up, we do mushrooms. I'll be like, hey, look, there's a UFO.
I saw it. It happened.
That's it.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
I want it too bad.
I know. Too horny for it.
What if they're
My wife says.
alien werewolves?
I mean, and that's straddling that like is Sasquatch an alien
See?
topic.
I think he's an interdimensional being for sure. Slips in and out.
What if he didn't? What if he looked like a normal person in his other dimension? Why are we talking about this stuff?
Because everybody else is
Right.
watching the other dimension, and then he comes here. He's like, why do I keep slipping back to these hairless apes? The werewolves are hairy. Sasquatch is hairy. It could be an offshoot of a werewolf.
Could be.
Could be an ape. Were-ape.
Where ape? Skunk ape.
Skunk ape. Were-bear.
I mean, it's,
You can just put the word "were" in front of everything.
Mhm.
there are totally whole genres like of non-wolf were beings.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot. Again, I'm trying to keep us on topic. I'm not going to
Yeah,
go to Stevenson again.
So let's do a quick timeline of like werewolf lore.
Mm.
Yeah, see where this all started and now where it's built up and progressed through the ages. So, like we said at the top of the episode, 2100 BC, Epic of Gilgamesh said no to this lady that was trying to seduce him because she had a habit of turning her exes into wolves, and he wasn't about that life. It's like, nah, I'll walk on 2 legs, not 4. Sorry, girl.
She's really just killing them and getting a dog to replace them.
Pretty much. Crazy
Yeah.
dog.
Burying him in the backyard and like, nope, this is Frank now.
So then, like Jin said, also in 425 BC, the Greek historian Herodotus writes about the Nuri. It's that tribe that transformed into wolves once a year, once or twice a year. Still want to know what the dates are and if there's like a cool, like there has to be like a wolf festival still going on.
Absolutely.
Probably.
Like, that would be so sick. I would go. I would love to go to that. That would be so dope.
As long
and
as you're a
then-
wolf.
Hey man, like you could just. I got Roberto. I think I've got a dad.
You're good. You're good. Disguise.
This guy with this guy. And then in 380 BC, Plato. He's pretty famous for being a great
Toy for kids.
yeah. Plato. He was just mentions people turning into wolves after eating human flesh during the rituals to Zeus in Arcadia, and that's where Wolf Zeus comes into play. So obviously, if you're having festivals about wolves and stuff like that, and your main god of your area is Zeus, that's gonna come into the play. Just like Odin, he's got his wolves and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Ravens too, right? Don't they?
Yeah, he's got two ravens, and then he's got 2 or 3 wolves. And technically, the Ulfhindr are Odin's wolves, the wolves of Odin. Yeah, so there's like a lot of wolf lore in different cultures, and in the 1500s, the werewolf panic in Europe reached its peak, where people were. It was literally the witch hunts. Say the witch
it's
hunt,
crazy
but,
that
like,
we just
of
find
Europe.
shit to do it about. Every satanic panic, witch hunts, werewolves,
Mass hysteria.
Pokemon, like everything
Pokemon.
is fucking the devil. It's crazy.
Man, I remember growing up and like people trying to tell like my parents that Pokemon was the devil. Pokemon and Lord of the Rings and Harry
There
Potter
is
were
a
the
man
devil.
that literally like is preaching that Pokemon are devils or demons. And like he'll pull up cards and be like, this thing, like blah blah blah. Like imagine spending all that energy
Oh,
in a kid game.
You could have been
Yeah.
an accomplished painter or had a master's degree.
You
But
can give us
instead you chose-
invisible art.
Yeah, you could give us invisible art and people would buy that.
Yeah, that's I don't know. Pretty fucking crazy. Every what 100 years we panic about something.
Pretty much. So I mean, aren't we due for a panic here soon?
Well, we
Or
had
did
the
we already have-
satanic panic. We had the satanic panic. That
I think it
was
was the
we
COVID panic.
did. We had that.
So,
No
yeah,
more
I think we're
panic.
good for- I think we're good for 100 years. We could just chill, not panic.
yeah, right.
Right.
We got an election coming up.
Yeah.
This is America.
Oh man, who would you vote for if it was a vampire or a werewolf? If that was like your two
Vampire.
choices.
Yeah, vampire.
Oh man,
Vampire.
I love you guys, but come on.
That gives like because werewolf screams like that sexist trope of a woman can't be president because like the time of her month. Like that's werewolves, man. Like I don't want this guy in charge when the moon's fucking full.
So you're saying
just-
that there can't be like lady werewolves? Werewolves
No.
are only men?
I mean, weremen. Yeah, I guess they're I don't know. Have we?
See, there are definitely female
Have
werewolves.
I ever seen a female werewolf? Are they in Underworld? Are they someone
Yeah.
female? They are.
Yeah, a couple
Oh.
of-
I think
Yeah.
that's the only
I've
way
never
I
seen
would see them.
yeah. I mean, it's
The other
definitely
thing,
not as
the vampire-
sex as a female
No.
vampire.
because a vampire is always a vampire. It's not controlled by a moon or
Yeah.
whatever.
And we could get away with whatever the fuck we want during the day.
or a 2-day-a-year festival.
Yeah, you can't go
Or-
outside at night during the day. We can.
Yeah, but like, so our president only operates at night. so we're good.
Let's see why. You got to do it all the time.
He would have a
not.
better forward-thinking plan because everything matters to him more than it does any of his people.
That's true.
Oh,
We can
we'll be
still
back.
talk.
So speaking of, vampires and werewolves, did y'all know that back in the 1700s in Eastern Europe, that's when the folklore started merging, creating that iconic rivalry of vampires and werewolves? And then now you get closer to, like our age, so like 1941, Lon Chaney Jr.'s The Wolfman. Fucking iconic.
He looks like one of just the
monster.
hairy people.
Yeah. He does look like the person that has genetic disorder.
It's on Prime now. It's back. They leave sometimes, and you have to like rent it or whatever. But for right now, it's back.
Heck yeah. And yeah, it's just one of those classic monster movies like Frankenstein, Dracula, The Mummy, like The Wolfman. Like it's those four together.
Yes.
But yeah, so like in The Wolfman, it brings modern werewolf myth to life, and it talks about the full moon, silver bullets, and obviously tragic backstory of how man becomes wolf. Man is upset about what he's done as wolf type thing.
Yeah, that like regretful wolf thing.
Yeah.
And they follow the Eastern Europe lore I love in that movie. They pretty much,
that it's like a curse instead of like yeah, I
they
like
have the
that a lot,
Roman
too.
gypsies and
And then
Romanian, excuse me. Not the Roman gypsies. Somebody's gonna comment, it's not the Roman.
The Romanians, yes. And then you get into the 80s where werewolves pretty much hit the mainstream with another classic, An American Werewolf in London. Like I'm pretty sure everybody knows that movie.
I think everyone's seen that.
Yeah, and then there's another movie called The Howling where that's blending horror and humor with groundbreaking practical effects. Like for those
love
for the
the
time,
Howling movies.
they're good. So then you got obviously Twilight, but at least they don't sparkle.
The werewolves in Twilight are legit. I will give you that. There's nothing really wrong. Like even with the Native American side of all that shit, like fucking cool. But why are they fighting sparkling vampires? Why? Like
because vampires and werewolves be beefing, sparkle or not.
I'm never gonna see this movie.
No, Twilight,
From you guys, I will never.
Well, you
don't need to. But yeah, and that's another thing. There's like different types of werewolves. Like you have like your classic werewolf that transforms by moonlight. You have your one that's like a cursed person through like a family lineage. You get bit by a werewolf. You can turn into a werewolf at will, like in the Underworld movies, where some of them only, some of the newer werewolves, because of like, age and different carriers of the disease, quote unquote, they can change at will. And then some of them turn into like a straight up giant wolf that's, on four legs. Some of them are more humanoid. And then like you have the one, I'm so upset about the one in the Harry Potter movies.
How did I know you were going to say that?
It was just the shittiest. It looked like Gollum. But
I know, he's so skinny and everything.
Yeah.
Here was my mental gymnastics for that. Is that because like he's kind of in hiding? Like he really hasn't been able to like satiate his wolf side. So he's not like eating. So he is like a kind of like emaciated, skinny wolf. But that's just me trying to make a movie I love not have shitty plot points.
But yeah, there's so many different types of like werewolves. Like there's the ones where like you transform and you're just a mindless beast, or like you have still like, you turn back into a human and you have the regrets for what you're doing.
I like that. I like that as like a story writing tool.
It is a good like plot and a trope to have.
Yeah.
It's also cool that like they're not just monsters, but like in some movies and books, they're the heroes. They have like their love interests, or they're just symbols of just like inner turmoil and like everyday human conflict. I think that's pretty neat. It's just not one like, oh crap, you're a monster you're a person that turned into a wolf and you're a monster.
Yeah. There's always that mirror side of humanity in all of these monsters. In Dracula, like there's that.
Oh, absolutely.
But what's pretty fascinating is like how the myth of the werewolf has literally just transformed over time. It's went from, like we said, curses, psychological horror, heroes and modern tales, and it's the werewolf has reflected our deepest fears and desires. And then it's even evolved into like recent decades, and there's now like a new cryptid apparently out there like called
I
Dog.
learned about this one recently. Yeah.
Mhm. I've seen it on a couple of like what I like to call trash TV. So it's just like ancient aliens, like beyond belief, the unexplained with William Shatner. Like I love that stuff.
Yeah,
I do too.
I met up with a guy who has the Dogman podcast.
Oh, really?
Dogman Encounters, maybe it's called. And yeah, he had an encounter and he started a podcast and he talked to all these people that have had this encounter. And before talking to him, I don't know if I ever heard of like an actual cryptid Dogman.
Oh, really?
But people saying like, or maybe I just chalked it up to like thinking like Dogman is a werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if I've ever before that like really considered it its separate cryptid.
I guess, yeah, I never would have like considered it its own cryptid either. Because if you just hear somebody talk about like a Dogman, your mind's instantly going to go to a werewolf or that really weird movie in the early 2000s called Dog Soldiers.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, I saw it like when I was a kid on like the Sci-Fi Channel when they would used to show like when it was actually a good channel when they show like different like movies. Yeah, it was just like a secret government military program, and they were turning soldiers into werewolves pretty much.
Dog Soldiers. Hey, got a pretty dope cover. I'll add this into the edit. But yeah, it looks like I'm gonna watch that movie now.
See,
it looks like a good classic bad movie.
That's how I saw Maximum Overdrive, where like all like trucks and vending machines trying to kill people and stuff like that. But yeah, so like like we said, Dogman, you just instantly think of werewolf, but Dogman, it's pretty much a permanent like hybrid creature, like half man, half dog, and it's not tied to the full moon. It's like a werewolf that never turns back. And like these videos that you see on like the CCTV footage and whatever of the Dogman, it does look like a bipedal dog man, right? Like literal werewolf. And then sometimes they'll like be on they'll be on like two legs, and then they'll crawl down onto four, and then they'll get back up on two.
Yeah. I've seen some interesting shapeshifter videos that are either great, like CGI, or just completely unexplained.
Yeah.
Well, I think with the Dogman, sightings go back to the 1800s in Michigan.
Really?
Oh, damn!
I didn't know that. As the earliest reported sightings. And the most famous account is the Michigan Dogman legend, where witnesses described a 7-foot-tall creature with the body of a man and the head of a dog or wolf. So here we go. These sightings spiked again in the 1980s, and since then, the Dogman has become a modern cryptid legend.
Damn, I guess we got to go to Michigan and see the Dogman.
Right? They need a Dogman statue in Michigan so we can get the tramp stamp.
There we go. Who do you think would win in a fight, Dogman or Sasquatch?
I don't know. The Dogman doesn't look too... Well, the pictures I've seen, of course, I'm still like, why does everyone still have a Potato 99 camera? I don't understand this. I am so done with these cameras.
Because it's the electromagnetic field that these creatures emanate that's messing with our focus. No, you just have a shitty camera.
Yes, or you have to have that edited. I don't know, whatever. Yeah. But I want to believe, so I'd like for somebody. But I don't know. The ones I've seen, it doesn't look like it would be much of a foe towards, unless it's scrappy. I mean, there's ankle biters that could take you down. So,
but like we're talking about,
it might be scrappy.
Strength of an ape. Like
that's
right into a Bigfoot. Like he's ripping this thing in half and laughing while he's doing it. Like I don't think
it's like throwing trees around.
Yeah. That's from the pictures I've seen. I don't think there would be much of a match unless. I
think a better fight would be like Dogman versus Mothman.
Ooh. Oh man, we should do like a monster March Madness, a little side quest. So
we just have what we should do is do it D&D style.
Yep.
And we'll roll and we'll figure out who wins.
I'm down. Yeah, that would be sick.
Yeah, y'all are really nerding out, right?
Yeah, I know. Where were we? We talking about Dogman and Dogman versus Mothman. That's right.
The fight of the century. Come get your tickets.
Like a Chupacabra selling tickets.
Flatwoods Monsters at the concession stand.
The Jersey Devils like taking bets.
Huh.
And then Bigfoot's the ref.
Yeah. No, Bigfoot's the bouncer.
Oh, there
hanging
we
out.
go. The Squanch could be the ref.
Just crying all the time. Yeah.
So I think like one of the terrifying things about Dogman is that it's not some cursed person. It's just always a dog hybrid.
And just like roams the wilderness, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just no transforming back into a person.
Sure.
You guys know like what a skinwalker is, or the legend or anything about it, other than like Skinwalker Ranch?
I mean, I know like little bits, like they're this Native American and you're supposed to wear like the skin of the animal to transform. I don't know like cause or anything like that.
Okay, so yeah, skinwalkers, they're evil witches or shamans or people that practice what the Native Americans call bad medicine, because there's good and bad medicine, and usually if you're a healer and stuff like that, you practice good medicine, and it's like passed down through your family. And yeah, and like I think some aspects of it can be learned, but like I said, mostly it's passed down through a family. And so these shamans or evil witches that are practicing bad medicine take the form of any animal. It doesn't have to be a wolf or anything, as long as, you know, they have the pelt of the animal. Yeah.
Okay.
Then they can transform into this animal, because there's like, you could see somebody that's like, oh, this horse is acting weird, and then it just all of a sudden just you look away for 1 second and it's gone, and obviously you don't see a horse running away or anything like that, and then a person just comes walking out of a bush. That's a skin 9 times out of 10. Yeah, it's absolutely terrifying. Like, and I don't know if you guys have seen like on TikTok or anything, like little short videos on Instagram of like people seeing a skinwalker, or like they'll be videoing something and all of a sudden like this goat jumps out of a bush, and then 2 minutes later it does some weird shit and then goes away, and then turns out to be like a person, or like nothing's there, like just completely vanishes.
It's not really skinwalkers or anything. But you see those pictures of the dogs that have like human faces?
Yeah.
Like the TikToks, and like people are like, this dog is not a dog. And it's like creepy human face dog.
The skinwalkers, like the werewolves, are kind of, they really feed into that fear of like what is in the wild. You know, that eerie feeling that I think we've all had at some point in time, of being, you know, I lived out in the country, you know, growing up, and, you know, I never wanted my dad used to, just shine the flashlight at the tree line, you know, and of course we had tons of possums, raccoons, you know, you name it, we had some black bear, just different things, but it was just to, you know, to scare me. It was funny to him. I mean, it was terrifying, and to this day I'm like, no, we're not just like shining flashlights at random tree lines, you know.
Just so people can peek out from behind it. Oh man.
Yeah.
You just see like the hand disappear around the back of the tree.
Yeah,
that would scare the fuck out of me.
I would be done. I would be toast, I think.
That's it. Put a fork in me. I'm done. I quit.
But yeah, so I think those are just why those just capture our imagine. And that's kind of the thing too about this whole, like, it's driving me nuts on TikTok. I sound like that old senator during the hearings. On TikTok with the whole Appalachian, you know, thing that's going around now, or it's been going around for at least a year now. It's like, you know, and I'm like, I live there, and I'm like, some of that, I'm like, get a grip, you know. You're just trying to get some TikTok views. But I mean, I can see where, you know, it was definitely a thing that at our house, you know, we would like shut all the windows, curtains, you know, at night and stuff like that. It was just, it's an eerie feeling of just, especially if you're surrounded by woods.
When it's dark like that, and like you're inside in light, you feel like no matter what, someone's looking in. Like you always, because
you can't see, you know, the glare and all that, and so it is that is an eerie feeling. And I definitely probably, I don't know, I'd be hard pressed even today to go to my dad's house and venture out in the, you know, in the
night.
backwoods at night. Yeah.
No, it makes sense. And the more we, go back, I feel like a lot of people are now looking for their space. Everyone, like you said, is like going to Appalachia to live in the woods and live in van life. Like, I'm curious to see what kind of like lore and cryptids come out of this. Like, I'm sure there's in those van kid communities, there's all kinds of like traveling hobo, like killer hobo lore.
When you think of werewolves, wolves, just the nature of, the hierarchy that they have in these packs and just the sounds that they make, the howling, all of that. I mean, they're just primed to be scary and something to sort of be revered,
Just to bring it back to skinwalkers for a little, it's even like more insidious because to like actually become a skinwalker in legend, you have to commit a serious sin, for lack of a better word. So usually like you have to like kill your whole family,
be a bad person.
Like you have to literally commit like kill your parents and kill your siblings and stuff like that. Just do something absolutely heinous to lose your humanity. Yeah, there's like story of like people that have like been around like or like been visited by a skinwalker and then like they get very sick or something very bad happens to their family, like a family member dies, and they like you'll hear about like a weird powdery substance that it has been associated with like a skinwalker, and that's supposed to like be poisonous or something like that to you. And there was this story I was listening to where somebody came in contact with a skinwalker and got some of this powdery, it's almost like ash, like if you like cremated somebody and it was just that fine ash, and it just got onto them and like they were breathing it in or whatever, and they obviously it was like a couple of days and they started feeling really bad and like got really really sick. And because this was all out I think in Utah, somebody was like, hey, you need to go and see this medicine man. And so like the guy brought a sick person to the medicine man, and the medicine man was like, oh yeah, you've come in contact with a skinwalker. If you would have waited like a couple more days, you would have been dead because of this powdery substance.
Wow.
So they had to do like this ritual and cleanse this person and whatever, and then they got better, which was wild.
That is crazy. They add a whole nother layer to this werewolf transformation thing, because I want to now do a deep dive on skinwalkers.
Yes, same.
Yeah, I know it's like very taboo to talk about. Like nobody talks about skinwalkers, and like even when I've been like on like the reservation out, in Colorado and New Mexico and stuff like that, there's like a lot of things like you don't whistle on the res at night, you don't mess around with skinwalkers, you don't say their name, you don't talk about it pretty much. Like it's like super taboo. Nobody wants to
bad at this. I need to know, guys. What about those SWs?
Tell me a thing about them. Yeah, if anybody listening has any like encounters with skinwalker, family encounters or anything like that, let us know. SSOS podcast at gmail.com.
Dogman too, cryptids in general.
Cryptids, dogman, anything.
Absolutely.
So let's get into some movies and TV, because who doesn't like that shit, right?
Yeah, we already talked about like Werewolf in London and the influences there. The movies for werewolves. So I feel like that's with like certain things. Like there'll be a vampire craze, like 20 vampire movies will come out. Then we'll move over to werewolves, and then there'll be like a bunch of werewolf movies, and then it's zombies for a couple years, and then like so I think we'll come back around to werewolves again in like a year or two.
Yeah, I noticed that when I would go to the movies and stuff, like when I was younger in high school, it was just like, man, there's so many vampire movies, or oh man, there's so many werewolf movies. But now, and zombies were a big thing for a hot minute, like you said. But now it's just superhero movies. Well, I think we're kind of like phasing that out.
They're done. They killed it. They're having a hard time.
Yeah, like after Infinity War, like that was it, pretty much.
I watched the whole thing on that, and people were saying it's because they made Infinity War such an ending. It's hard to like restart anything after that. Like,
That's
you
true.
made the best ending of a movie, and now you want to like say no, it's not over.
Yeah, but no, in the movie verse, it's completely over. Like, it works in comic books that it's not over.
Speaking of superhero stuff that worked, that was kind of a TV show, was the Marvel Werewolf by Night. They did like a noir type Wolfman thing.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, and that I actually recommend. Like, if you have Disney Plus, it's a good
It's
watch.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give it a shot. I mean, it is the season. I guess I didn't know. Like, is there any like werewolf superhero or anti-heroes in like Marvel DC? Because I mean, I guess you have Blade in Marvel.
Yeah. I don't know if there's any. Well, I guess you got like the closest you get. I think in my mind, I can think of like Beast.
Beast probably.
So, what is y'all's favorite werewolf movie?
Underworld.
You know what I'm gonna say?
Wolfman.
I mean, yeah.
That's valid. That's where it all starts, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'd have to say probably Underworld too.
It's such a good one. Like it fleshes out everything. It has such good lore for both sides, for both monsters, and then like it sets them up good with that rivalry throughout the ages, and it's just a good movie. And I feel like it represents like the early 2000s in a T though.
Yes, it's so fucking early 2000. That and like the first Blade movies are so 2000.
Yep.
Good werewolf, not great movie. Van Helsing
That was a good one too.
with
Yes.
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman, yeah. I did like that.
Yeah, I'd like to watch
This-
that
this
again.
is definitely a good place for like these not so great early 2000 movies.
I keep forgetting Hugh Jackman was Van Helsing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know who played the vampire in that movie, but that guy was a good vampire.
He was a good Dracula
Like
for
I
sure.
said, yeah. I don't know who the actor was.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I could have done with a Van Helsing too. Like that would have been cool.
Ask Hugh Jackman. He likes doing things over again. He's been Wolverine like a billion times.
Well, I mean, when it's just like
Made for him. I
Robert
know.
Downey Jr. It's Tony Stark.
I know.
Made
Yeah.
for it.
It really is. Maybe we'll get a Wolfman movie.
Like a
coming
How
up
to
soon.
Date a Dog Man in 10 Days.
They should do it. Yeah, they should. They should do a Howling. They should remake the Howling movie. Another movie you have to watch if you love like classic 80s horror kid gang movies, Monster Squad. Gotta see it. Kick them in the
Right.
nards.
You have
Wolfman
been
doesn't have
shamelessly
nards.
plugging.
Yeah, because it is, talk about favorite movies. It's up there for one of my favorite movies. The kids are yelling because no one knows how to stop Wolfman without a silver bullet. So he's like, kick him in the nards, kick him in the nards. Like, Wolfman doesn't have nards. He kicks him. Great movie. And I'm ending on that.
If you
All
have
right,
any
guys.
Dogman sightings, let us know.
Yes.
Please let us know. If you want to be a guest, let us know. If you just have suggestions for topics or anything else, you could also let us know. That's it.
Email us at ssospodcast@gmail.com. Comment on YouTube, like, subscribe, Instagram, TikTok.
Yep. And if you're still listening, rate the podcast on Apple, on
Apple.
Spotify. Yeah, that stuff actually really helps. So
Yes.
thanks,
Thank you
guys.
for listening to the Secret Society of
All right.
Strangers podcast.
Till next time, y'all.
This show is an independent
Bye.
production,
Later.
researched and crafted by our passionate team. But we couldn't do it without all of you. We truly appreciate your support. Embrace the unknown, for not all secrets are meant to be kept. Farewell, strangers.